Good night, America, and welcome to the Fowler Show. It's your boy, Richard Fowler. As always here on the Fowler Show, we're here to inform you, to empower you, and help you get your voice back. Tonight's show, no different. You can join our movement by going to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Fowler Show, or checking out our podcast. Go to iTunes and Google, and and search Fowler Show. We want to hear from you. We want you to be part of this movement. It is nothing, absolutely nothing without you. And let's get right to our reality check. After the devastating shooting at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, Americans are looking for answers about gun control and how to keep our kids safe. But while this debate rages on, President Trump's White House continues to fly under the radar and work behind the scenes to carry out its agenda in a way that is underreported by mainstream media. And we are going to cover it. So let's see what you missed this week in Trump land. The first thing, the State Department is scaling back language on women and discrimination. Yes, indeed, America, it is true. The State Department has always been the olive branch to the world for American diplomacy, American democracy, and human rights. Not so much under President Trump. The State Department is set to release an annual report on human rights across the globe, but Trump's team is going to be quietly defining some of those rights. Officials at the State Department have been ordered to pare back language about women's reproductive rights and discrimination, strip entire passages about family planning and access to contraception and abortion, and slash another section dealing with the discrimination of individuals based on race, sex, and gender identity. Now, here's why this matters. In the grand scheme of things, there's one word there's one acronym that I want to talk to you about when it comes to scaling back this language. It is called PEPFAR. PEPFAR is a bill that was passed under George W. Bush, and it was a bill that was utilized to really put America's footprint in Africa as a human rights hero. What this bill did was gave tons of money to fight the HIV/AIDS crisis and to stabilize many economies in Africa. But under President Obama, there was a move in PEPFAR to increase contraception as a way to decrease the spread of HIV/AIDS on the continent. The fact that this White House is removing language around women's reproductive rights and discrimination, family planning, and access to contraception and abortion says to me that this State Department is erasing not only the achievements that we've had in PEPFAR, but beyond that, they're erasing the impact that PEPFAR has. Because here's the truth. The reason why the HIV/AIDS transmission rate is down in Africa is because of the PEPFAR bill and the PEPFAR law. But that law also says that abstinence only isn't the way to stop the spread of HIV/AIDS. The best way to stop the spread of HIV/AIDS, America, it's pretty simple. It's called a condom. And so when you omit the access to family planning and the access to contraception, what you're saying is you don't see access to these things as a human right, when we all know that it is a human right. And beyond that, the fact that this particular section also takes out discrimination based on race, ethnicity, and sex also speaks to a larger problem. Now, while Nikki Haley was great at the United Nations condemning Russia's treatment of the LGBTQ community, the fact that this is not included in the Human Rights Report will allow some of these bad actors all across the world to continue to discriminate and kill people of the LGBTQ community, and America will say nothing about it. We are the city on the hill. We are the world's largest democracy, and we've got to stand up for the little guy. And the fact that this is being omitted from the Human Rights Report should shock every American. Moving on. At the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service, here's what they've done. They've removed a nation of immigrants from their mission statement. So what the mission statement used to say, we are a nation of immigrants, and now it reads, securing America's promise, used to read, as securing America's promise as a nation of immigrants. The new mission statement that now states, administering the nation's lawful immigration system, safeguarding its integrity, and promise by efficiently and fairly adjudicating requests for immigration benefits while protecting Americans and securing the homeland and honoring our values. So the omission of this ideal that we're a nation of immigrants speaks to what maybe Omarosa has been saying since she's left the White House. In an interview yesterday with Stephen Colbert, Omarosa indicated that there will be mass roundups of immigrants, those that are illegal. And maybe she's right. And maybe by removing this language, this White House is making it very clear that even though we're a nation of immigrants, they don't seem to care about it. Moving on. At the Department of Health and Human Services, they are now putting what we like to call here at the Fowler Show, junk policies, healthcare plans into the Affordable Care Act exchange market. The president has been solely laser focused on dismantling and destroying the Affordable Care Act, which has been America's access to affordable health care and preventative health care. But in a new proposed rules that will allow Americans to seek health insurance by purchasing skimpier, cheaper plans without the basic coverage protections required under the ACA. This move could endanger the Affordable Care Act marketplace exchange as more consumers purchase cheaper plans, thus raising the cost on more expensive and more comprehensive plans, number one, and number two, hurting the Americans who have these cheaper plans. Like, just imagine buying one of these junk plans or junk premiums, like we call them here at the Fowler Show, right? And then going to the emergency room and realizing it does nothing for you. It doesn't help you. It doesn't make your bill any cheaper. This is what the Republicans mean when they say they're going to give you more choice in the marketplace. And let's not forget that the Affordable Care Act and the ideal of the exchange was something created by the Heritage Foundation and implemented by Mitt Romney in Massachusetts just a couple years ago. America, you have got to follow the story on these because these stories are devastating. While the president is over here trying to fix or trying to say he's going to fix the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School shooting crisis, his administration is literally shredding the laws that have protected Americans for decades. And the last one. The last thing that happened this week while you weren't watching and the mainstream media wasn't covering it is what is going on with Jared Kushner at the White House. Now, everybody knows Jared Kushner is Ivanka's husband and a senior advisor to the president. We know that his security clearance has been downgraded because he couldn't fill out his forms correctly and because the FBI feels as though Jared Kushner could be influenced and blackmailed by foreign entities. Well, maybe the FBI was right when they raised the flag on Jared Kushner. Because here is what we know today. That Kushner Family Businesses has received loans after these rich millionaires and billionaires had meetings at the White House. Yes, indeed, America, it is true. I'm talking about Josh Harris of Apollo Global Management, an advisor on infrastructure issues, met with Kushner several times last year. In November, Apollo, after meeting with Kushner at the White House, lent $184 million to the Kushner companies, tripling the size of the investment firm's average property loan. And they aren't alone. Citigroup CEO Michael Corbat met with Jared Kushner in the spring, and shortly thereafter, the bank lent the Kushner company $325 million. And lastly, while Kushner has partially divested, he still owns a substantial stake in Kushner companies and will profit off these deals. So basically what you have happening here is he's giving these millionaires and billionaires and these big banks tours of the White House and meeting with them about policy. Remember, this guy has the president's ear. He's the president's son-in-law and a senior advisor to the president. Right? He's also evaded having to have a security clearance for almost a year, viewing top secret documents, viewing the presidential daily briefing that includes sources and methods on how we collect our intelligence. And at the same time, Jared Kushner is also meeting with these millionaires and billionaires and these bankers. And then all of a sudden, after the meeting happens, money just starts to appear for the Kushner Company. Now, we already know the Kushner Company is a very shady organization. We know about what they did in New York. We know what we're doing when it comes to rent discrimination and America. We also know about their properties in Florida. Like, this guy is shady boots. And the fact that after going to the White House, he was able to raise almost $500 million for his company says to me that this is a pay for play. We'll follow all these stories for you. The Fowler Show will keep you updated.